Good morning. I'm Jeff Hammond, Executive Director at International Ground Source Heat Pump Association. Appreciate you joining us for our March Town Hall. We have a very interesting topic that I'll get to here shortly. Before we get started, I have just a few slides so that everyone has an update on what's happening with IGSHPA. Would like to thank Climate Master for sponsoring this March Town Hall. Climate Master is a manufacturer of water source and geothermal heat pumps, and we appreciate that support. So just a few of the updates here before we get started. If you'd like to speak at a town hall or a Dig Deeper webinar, go to the website, IGSHPA.org, and you'll find a button that says Training and Events Calendar. Click on that button, and there's an abstract that you can fill out, and that will provide the information to IGSHPA for an upcoming town hall or Dig Deeper webinar. So hopefully we'll have a lot more interesting topics. Also want to make sure you save the date on the calendar. Our 2025 annual conference is coming up March 11th through the 13th in Champaign, Illinois. You'll see a lot more information here in the next few weeks. We have announced save the date, but we'll be announcing registration and hotel information, all those kind of things here coming up, and start accepting abstracts for speakers. So we're pretty excited about that. We'll get more information out to you shortly. Watch your inbox and social media. Our next research conference is in May in Montreal. We have about 50 papers that have been accepted. So we'll see quite a few topics on the latest research in the geothermal industry. And that is May 28th through the 30th. Hope to see you there. Our Geo Outlook magazine is back. The January edition was published at the end of January. And our next edition is in July. If you haven't seen the email for the Geo Outlook magazine, make sure you send us a note or give us a call. We have had some email subscription issues starting in January. Some security settings from different organizations have automatically unsubscribed members from our email list. So if you didn't see January's Geo Outlook, make sure you let us know so that we can check to ensure that you're on our mailing list. July is pretty exciting. We have some new articles, and also we're partnering with BNP Media. If you subscribe to the news or engineered systems or a lot of the other publications, they have a pretty big reach, over 50,000 subscribers between BNP Media's subscribers and IGSHPA's database. So it's a good value for advertisers, and it's a great way for your article to be seen as well. We do have a new membership program. You may have heard about this. If not, check out the website. There's a lot of different options now. You can do a directory-only listing for businesses. That helps with lead generation as people are looking for installers, engineers, drillers, excavators, and so forth. There's also some different levels available, like our benefactor level that has even more perks and shows more commitment from members. We have some retired and student rates, as well as community organizations and other options for that membership program. So check out IGSHPA.org for membership. Also, if you haven't been to our member portal, there are some new resources, especially in the way of marketing resources, and even the new DOE Oak Ridge study that's on the member portal now. That is accessible to members only. So if you log in and click on that, you will have to be a member in order to see that information. As far as CEUs and renewals, this webinar does count towards your renewals. So please make sure that if you'd like credit for this town hall, that you send your name and your email in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll make sure and record that. There's a new option for obtaining CEUs. If you're attending this live, you don't have to worry about this, but if you're watching this webinar on a recording, make sure you include this webinar code when you send that email to info@igshpa.org. If you include that code, if you've watched this webinar, you'll get credit for the recording. Just a little bit more housekeeping, and then we'll introduce our speaker. If you do have questions, please enter those in the chat or in the Q&A window, and I will facilitate those at the end of the presentation. So make sure you send those in. You'll be muted Until that point, we have had some issues with people accessing chat because of some security settings. So we have added Q&A, but also if you happen to see a window that looks something like this, asking permission to be able to chat, you'll want to make sure you click OK and you'll be able to chat. If you can't access the chat, like I said, use Q&A. And if all else fails, raise your hand and we'll unmute your microphone at the end of the presentation. Just a disclaimer and potential conflict of interest, and then I'll introduce our speaker. The upcoming presentation represents the opinion of the presenter and does not represent any official position, opinion, or endorsement of any products or services by IGSHPA or its members. IGSHPA town halls and Dig Deeper webinars are for member updates and education on the latest information in the geothermal heat pump industry and are not meant to endorse one technology or brand over another. It is the presenter's responsibility to disclose any conflict of interest or position that may arise in the content of the webinar. With that, let me introduce our speaker. Daniel, feel free to share your screen whenever you're ready. Daniel Sadik joined Carbon Solutions Group executive team in January 2022 to spearhead the expansion of the company's commercial endeavors. With an extensive background in origination and trading spanning over 15 years, Daniel brings invaluable commercial expertise to the team. Prior to joining Carbon Solutions Group, Daniel played pivotal roles in originating new build wind deals across the U.S. and executing transactions totaling over 30 million megawatt hours of power and REC deals in key markets across the U.S. and Canada. Before his tenure at Carbon Solutions Group, Daniel had prominent positions including senior commercial and industrial originator at Southern Power Company, international originator at Asonia Energy, and roles at NRG, West Oaks, and Credit Agricole CIB, where he honed his skills in commercial transactions, financial trading, and commodity sales. Daniel holds a degree from Tulane University and is based in Austin, Texas. With Carbon Solution Group's expansion into geothermal technology in 2024, Daniel is enthusiastic about leveraging the company's prior success in residential solar aggregation to further scale presence in the innovative sector. So with that, I turn it over to Daniel and look forward to this exciting presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. That was great. I guess as far as we get started here, one, thank you for, I really appreciate you having us, Jeff.
Pardon me,
sorry.
Sorry about that.
No.
My speaker's muted.
All righty. All right. Well, yeah, I can give a quick overview here. First off, Jeff, yeah, I really appreciate you having us. I guess here at Carbon Solutions Group, we were founded in 2006. We have a little over 35 employees, kind of solely focused on driving decarbonization through renewable energy credit and carbon offset aggregation. And are we getting any feedback on the line? All right, is that better? All right, sorry, I think we fixed it. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, so sorry, Carbon Solutions Group founded in 2006. We now have just over 35 employees focused on driving decarbonization through renewable energy credit and carbon offset aggregation. Carbon Solutions Group was founded in Chicago, Illinois, and we have kind of fully expanded now into multiple states across the U.S. One of the initial things that Carbon Solutions Group started working on was solar renewable energy credit aggregation. Back in Illinois in 2016, we started working with solar installers and the state of Illinois to provide incentives to solar customers. We first started out in 2016. We had a couple of folks and a Google Sheet, and we said, hey, we're going to try to figure out, basically how to administer this program. Since 2016, we've kind of grown up quite a bit. We are off Google Sheets. We have a full stack development program with multiple developers and a pretty large team to administer incentives. With that, we now serve roughly 32,000 solar customers and around 3,000 or so commercial entities across, I think we're in about 20 states now, but very active in about 12. The company has, really when we look at renewable energy credits, if people aren't familiar with them, you won't hurt my feelings. It's kind of something that we do and geek out on. But basically, whenever you have a renewable energy resource, such as solar, wind, and now geothermal, you can have an associated credit with it. And where we come in is we act to aggregate those. We purchase them from the individual consumer, we bundle them up, and then we'll either sell them in the market or to utilities. I'll kind of give a quick overview of Carbon Solutions Group before we kind of get into our specific geothermal program. But yeah, right now we're one of the top 3 marketers by volume in the US. We're not as big as a BP or a Shell, but for kind of unique things like renewable energy credits, we're number 3 in the US, and we've done about 150 million megawatt hours since 2017. So, we think RECs are kind of sexy and something that we kind of geek out on here. So we're really excited to expand the offering into something like geothermal. Roughly we're in about 40 different REC and carbon markets. One of my colleagues, Jack Wallace, who you'll kind of see at some of the geothermal conferences and things around, focuses on our carbon business. And when we develop carbon projects, actually globally, we have some projects in Colombia, Singapore, Africa, and Canada that are currently being worked on. Yeah, this is just kind of a background of the company. Back in 2006, we were founded in Chicago. The owner and founder of the business still runs it today. He started out as a PIP broker back at the Chicago Board of Trade, and I don't know if anybody can remember back to 2006, but everybody thought cap and trade was going to happen. So he came and said, "Hey, I'm going to start a sustainabilities company." And obviously cap and trade did not happen, but pivoted into greenhouse gas consulting, having advised on multiple utilities throughout the US, and also working on some biodiesel projects down in Latin America, which has been successful. As you can see from this chart, we've kind of grown over the years with our experience on these, back in the time were kind of niche products, but now they're becoming more mainstream. We also have a development arm where we own and operate electric vehicle charging stations, mainly out in California, with the main intent of you get a low carbon fuel standard credit. So the way to think about Carbon Solutions Group is whenever there is any type of technology, especially renewables, that could gain an associated credit, we want to be there, we want to aggregate it, we want to make sure that customers and entities can monetize those. And that's where we come in. And on our end, we find it really interesting. We do everything from a residential home all the way up to $200 million wind and solar facilities. But where we really get excited is the future, which is distributed generation. So, our tagline is distributed decarbonization, because we feel like, over the last couple of years, the focus has been on large utility scale facilities, but we get really excited about the home and what people can do, whether it's solar, geothermal, electric vehicle charging, efficient houses, all of those things we feel like are going to be kind of part and parcel to the next 30 years of what decarbonization is. So why we're here today, sorry it took too long there. If anybody knows me, they know I'll kind of get on a tangent on all the kind of interesting and fun stuff we're doing. But by and large, a GREC, our geothermal renewable energy credit, basically is in a certain number of states, we can actually register your system, create these renewable energy credits, and pay you for them. So the structure that we have right now is whenever a geothermal unit goes into a person's home, we typically partner with solar installers. We offer referral fees, and then as soon as it's installed, there's just a couple quick things we need from the installer or the customer, and then we go. and we register it with the state system, with the state, and then the tracking system to actually create these RECs. And then we will bundle these up into a wholesale transaction. Hopefully we'll have thousands of geothermal systems over the next year or so. We'll bundle up and then we'll either resell them to companies that are looking at certain environmental goals, or we will resell them to utilities. And this is just kind of a general kind of graph of, or I guess pictorial of how it would look. So yeah, kind of just a general overview of the process. Like I mentioned, what we've done before in solar is what we're going to basically be rolling out for geothermal. Basically, there will be a installer referral agreement where basically anytime a system comes up, we will pay the installer and they will introduce us to the customer. For geothermal, it's actually, believe it or not, even though it's more complicated technology than solar, registering them and minting RECs. We've kind of built out the software and have all the fun stuff behind the scenes. We're actually able to do it very quickly. So from the time that a system is installed, we basically need 3 items. One, if there's a local building permit and final approval, maybe a commissioning report or something of that nature, proof of the paid invoice, and then typically like the system specs. And I think we're going to be looking for like the proposal or sales contract. From there, we pretty much, there's a bunch of complicated things that we do behind the scenes for calculations and all of that fun stuff with the registries and states and all that. But from the installer and customer perspective, it's relatively seamless. As far as the customer contract goes, we offer 2 payments. One, if you're in Maryland, for example, Maryland has a pretty robust renewable energy credit market now. We can offer 2 options. We can either create these RECs each year, and we'll offer we'll take 5% of whatever the total value is of it, and we will sell them for years in perpetuity and either send the customer a check or an ACH payment through Plaid or however they want to do it. Or we can offer a prepay, which is basically just a lump sum value for these renewable energy credits. Yeah, the big item on this is, as far as the registration piece and all that goes, like I mentioned, that's all handled by Carbon Solutions Group. It takes roughly 4 to 6 weeks, maybe, after we receive all the information. And then we're able to pay typically net 30 or a little bit quicker, which we've had a pretty good customer presence in Illinois, and we're active in Virginia, Pennsylvania, and all that. So I think why everybody's here, what everybody might be interested in is how much money is it, right? So the good news is we'll go through Maryland first, and then we'll go through some of the other states. With the Maryland market right now, there's a new law established, and for units installed after January 1st, 2023, it's a pretty robust market, at least today. Obviously, with any of these markets, the goal is that the pricing comes down because everybody will hopefully convert to geothermal. But as of today, the prices this is where they're roughly at. And just so everybody knows, what happens behind the scenes is we run all the calculations on what is being displaced or the unit that was there. So this is kind of a matrix of where the pricing will come in at. If you're in Maryland and you were constructing a new home, and let's say it's a 6-ton home, basically upon commissioning of it, we would come in, we would offer a $2,000 per ton upfront payment. Customer signs a contract through us through DocuSign, super simple. We receive the 3 documents we need from the installer or the homeowner, and then we basically write a check for $12,000 on system install. And then, if it's a retrofit where they have propane and natural gas, electric resistance, or electric heat pump, the prices kind of come down for those. And that has to do with some of the calculations we handle on our end for how many RECs you can actually create. You get assigned more REC value based on how basically dirty or inefficient the other products are. The good news too is that there is the after January 1st, 2023, and then there's a before January 1st, 2023. The before January 1st, 2023, even though it does not qualify for the new Maryland geothermal law, we are able to register those systems under another provision. and are able to offer similar incentives. So for that, if you have I guess it wouldn't be a new home, but let's say you have fuel oil that you're converting off of in Maryland, it would be $800 per ton payment, which would, on a 6-ton system, roughly come out to $4,800 upon system registration. And just so everybody knows, we can definitely share all of these, pricings and everything like that. But we have done a ton of registrations on the solar side and have completed registrations in Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and hopefully in Illinois very soon for geothermal. So we're expanding that. As we look at new markets, we're really excited to say that we are the first to have an offering for any geothermal systems within the electrical footprint of PJM. And PJM electrical footprint basically encompasses Pennsylvania, Virginia, Ohio, Delaware, New Jersey, West Virginia, and ComEd in Illinois, basically kind of right around the Chicagoland area. There are some spots in eastern Kentucky as well that would qualify. The good thing about these are that you have a new home being built or you're retrofitting. It's not as much as Maryland, but we still think it can be substantial enough to move forward. So yeah, if you're building a new home in any of these states, we'd absolutely love to work with you. And our payments that we can offer, let's just call it a 6-ton system, would be about $4,800 for a new home build, and so on and such forth. So yeah, really excited about all these states. We plan on doing a kind of marketing push and trying to, hopefully have some strategic partnerships with manufacturers and installers to push our product. And what we've seen be successful in solar is that typically at point of sale, we're able to have these agreements. Here are some definitions for some of these. Basically, a REC is created when 1 megawatt of electricity is produced from a renewable source, such as wind, solar, hydro, biomass, landfill, are environmentally preferred technology. So yeah, we have a decent number of just definitions here if anybody's interested. And hey, what's a tracking system? What's a compliance REC? What's a GREC? And all that. We're more than willing to share anything we can here with y'all. And here's just kind of a glance of Carbon Solutions Group. Since 2006, on the renewable energy credit side, we've transacted 150 million RECs. We've transacted about 10 million tons of carbon, and we've done 10,000 lead point projects as well. So we're very active in the lead space, which we're very proud of. And we are really excited. And Jeff and company, thank you so much for having us here. We're completely ecstatic to be in geothermal and are looking forward to the conference in Illinois next year. But yeah, that is the kind of general synopsis of where we're at. Please, if anybody has any questions, I know this is a new product, and I know RECs might sound complicated or maybe something of that nature, but at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We try to make it as seamless as possible, try to issue payments as quickly as possible, and make the contracting as quick as possible to scale. If anybody has any questions, please reach out to myself, Jack Wallace, or Kelsey Klein. We're all on the same team and trying to advance these. And Jack and Kelsey are definitely the brains in the room. So any type of calculations or anything like that, they're really quite spectacular. But yeah, Jeff, I will stop there. If not, we could be on for another hour if we start geeking out on RECs and geothermal, and who knows where things will lead.
All right, thank you, Daniel. I don't see any questions in our chat or Q&A. Oh, I might have misspoken here. There is one that just showed up. So our first question is, what is the standard lead time on a payment?
Absolutely. And right now, as far as payments go and payment timing, from system installation, I think the registration timeline, and my team might, I don't know, they might be upset about this, but I think we're around 4 weeks, and then we're net 30 of that. So we can have a payment out the door from installation date within probably 6 to 8 weeks. So we can try to
Thank you, Daniel. Next question is from Dan. That first one was from Benjamin, I forgot to mention. Dan asks, will RECs be coming to New York anytime soon?
As of now, we are not in New York. That is a state that we are actively, kind of researching, but it is our understanding that at least where we sit today, that not yet. But that is something that we are looking at. We're looking at Massachusetts and New York as potential expansions and helping to craft policy. One thing that I didn't mention is that we do have folks on our end that are active in the policy front and are active in different state legislatures to help move policy forward, which is very important to us on our end, to hopefully help have carve outs, not just for solar, but for geothermal and some of these different measures.
Okay, thank you. Wallace has a question. Are GRECs retroactive? And if so, how far back do you go?
That is a great question. I'll kind of phrase it in two areas here. For Maryland, for the new program, there is that January kind of go forward date from Jan 1, 2023 for like the robust pricing. And then that's something we need to look into. I know within the last 2 years, we can absolutely register units, but I know the team is researching if we can make the case for even some older units. So I would say at least in the last 2 to 3 years, we feel very confident that we could generate renewable energy credits. But we are going to be going forward and trying to find out if we can retroactively get some older systems online.
Great information. So Michael asks a question, does this work with commercial applications in Maryland, or is it just residential?
Absolutely. In fact, we are ecstatic about the prospect of being able to do commercial and school units in Maryland. We kind of see that as a huge market for us and something that we would absolutely love to pursue. So to the extent there are Maryland facilities available on the commercial front or on the school front, that is something we would absolutely like to participate in, and something that we can obviously roll out the pricing and stuff. For us, it's all an OpEx battle. So the bigger it is, the easier it is for us. But we love doing residential installs as well. We're kind of the full gamut. So the answer to your question is yes, absolutely, for commercial installs.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Daniel. Rick asks about North and South Carolina. Maybe that would, I guess, lead to a question I had. If we have states where there aren't GRECs, what's the best way we can work with Carbon Solutions and find out how we might be able to spread the program, but also be aware of which states offer which programs?
Absolutely. I think, and I'll answer the first question. I guess for North Carolina and South Carolina, they're not GRECs yet, with the caveat of there is a very small portion of North Carolina in the Northeast quadrant on the Dominion service territory that we would be able to qualify. But that is very small. So I don't know, it's not like a Charlotte or a Raleigh or one of those cities. It's just kind of that Northeast footprint. But I think what we're going to do on our end is, mainly have some marketing materials. We're going to update our website with a map that kind of shows the areas that could be participated in and kind of get that out to everybody so they can kind of see the footprint of those. And then as far as working with Carbon Solutions Group, anybody that would like to participate in the stakeholder process, at the federal level, it's very difficult, but where we've seen the most traction is on the state level, and where Carbon Solutions Group can really make an impact. And to make an impact at the state level, we need a lot of stakeholder involvement, which means we would absolutely love to work with anybody on this call or anybody that in any of these states to try to advance the agenda. In places like South Carolina, we actually had a meeting, this might have been 6 months or so ago, with the governor. I believe his name is McMaster's. And we were talking EV, but they're very open, especially in South Carolina, to anything manufacturing related. And we've seen that with the advent of electrification, some battery facilities, car facilities that are going in around the Greenville area. So I think the time would actually probably be prudent if we were going to be approaching someone in South Carolina, if that's of interest. So yeah, we would absolutely love to work with anybody and everybody on any of these states and take an active role in the lobbying and stakeholder process.
Related to that, Gerald has a question about which states are offering these programs. Is there some sort of a website reference or someplace where they might be able to go to find that information?
That's a great question. I think on our end, I think we should probably update maybe a map and put it on our website on carbonsolutionsgroup.com for geothermal and have a tag there to where everybody can see it. But what we can do is reach out to us and we can kind of give you the lay of the land of the map. But that's a great question. I think something that we should probably get done this week. Actually, now that we think about it, that's a great. I don't know why we didn't update the website with it so before this meeting, but yeah, that's something we should absolutely have and can provide as well. But the way to look at it is, if you look at anything in the PJM territory, the electrical system, that's where we would be able to provide these RECs. But I'll update the map on the team update the map on the website so we have.
And IGSHPA would be happy to post a map as well. I think that may be good for everybody to have access to where these might be occurring. Brett has a question. Can this program apply to geothermal retrofits, upgrades for either residential or commercial customers who already have a geothermal system installed but many years old, or is this program only applicable to replacing existing fossil fuel-based systems?
That is actually a fantastic question, and I would actually defer to Jack Wallace on this. I don't know, Jack, if you're on by chance. I believe that it depends on the system type and the efficiency of the new one. I think there would be a delta there. I don't know if the value would be incredibly high, to be honest. But I don't know, Jack, are you on by chance? Jack is the brains behind all the calculations, so I don't want to say something out of turn. Jack might not be on, that's fine. That's something that we can look into and we can send you a follow-up on, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I don't see any additional questions right now, but this session will be recorded. So if you have colleagues who weren't able to attend today, make sure they're aware of the recording. It usually takes a couple of days for us to get it on the IGSHPA page, on our YouTube channel. So check back in a couple of days at the IGSHPA website, IGSHPA.org. I certainly appreciate your time, Daniel. It's great hearing all these exciting programs, and hopefully everyone has a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you for joining us for our town hall.